If I had to describe Jane in 3 words, I would say dynamic,
driven,
pwerus,
energetic,
inspirational,
allweddol,
source of inspiration,
patient,
enthusiastic,
motivated,
passionate about what she does,
penderfynol,
single-minded.
formidable.
passionate,
driven.
arloesol.
and a born leader.
and full of integrity.
I started life as a teacher, teaching English drama and PE in the high school in Cardigan, and really enjoyed both living in West Wales, engaging with young people. And following that, I left straight education and went to work for the Youth Hostels Association. I did that for 3 years. I then entered politics. I joined the Labour Party in 1983 and I was a councillor by 1987 and set up a creche in Cardiff, set up a housing advice centre in Cardiff, supported new waste arrangements in Cardiff Council where I was a councillor for some 10 years. And I think that all the way through my life until that point, it was really clear to me that if you were going to be sustainable, you had to be socially sustainable, and that's why I thought it was so important to have done the anti-poverty work. You had to be environmentally sustainable, and I've always been fanatical about trying to take waste out of every organisation I've been in. But you also have to be economic sustainable. So you do have to make sure that what you do stacks up economically and hopefully creates new kind of jobs. And I brought this philosophy into my roles in the Welsh Government. Firstly, as Education Minister from 2000 to 2007. And then when I moved on to the environment portfolio, we were able to introduce legislation around recycling that has brought Wales from the bottom of the UK to not only top of the UK but among the best in Europe now. We introduced the legislation on plastic bags with huge support from the people of Wales. We changed planning requirements to make sure that buildings would be more sustainable for the future. And I'm delighted that the opportunity that I left the government with when I left politics was to create the Wellbeing of Future Generations Act. That became law this year. There are now 7 goals that all public organisations in Wales will have to support in terms of ensuring that they create new wellbeing plans for the future. And I'm delighted that some of that legacy now I've been able to bring into my work in the university. One of I suppose of the interesting aspects of my own childhood was that I grew up in Africa in what is now Zimbabwe. My father went out there to establish a new multiracial medical school, and so I grew up at a time when there were sanctions from the UK to Rhodesia as it was then, and I was acutely conscious all my childhood of living within limits. So my hatred of waste is definitely related to growing up in Africa where nobody wastes anything because everything is a precious resource, and I believe fundamentally that everybody should be thinking like that. In the same way, my very strong support for equality and diversity is predicated on growing up in a country that divided people by colour and class. And of course what university does is give a chance for anybody of any colour, of any creed, to have the best possible opportunity to further their own talents and skills. And I fundamentally have used that as the mantra that has probably guided everything I've done in my life since. Well, our story here in Trinity St David really starts in 2010, before I came to the university, when the university decided they wanted to set up a Wales Institute for Sustainability. There was going to be no notion that I could lead an institute for sustainability and that we wouldn't be delivering right throughout the institution. So along with an experienced researcher, Dr. Gavin Bunting, we crafted a sustainability skills survey of our staff. And when over a third of the staff responded, and then of those who responded, 90% were really keen to see greater sustainability initiatives throughout the university. And it meant that actually, at that point, Inspire was born. So I suppose I spent the years from 2012 and 2014 looking at all ways in which we could introduce sustainability with people's support, both staff and student support on all campuses, into all aspects of the university's operations. And I'm delighted that because of the corporate culture agenda, we won the Guardian Award for Sustainability in a Higher Education Institution in 2013. And then it was like open season. All sorts of things started happening across the university. We joined Green Impact, and we had loads of members of staff and students who started getting Green Impact awards. Our catering team just embraced this big time, and our catering team went on to win the first Gold Soil Association catering mark for their activities in conferences and catering. And then, of course, in 2014, we were absolutely delighted when we moved from our third-class degree position in People and Planet University League in 2013 to not only a first-class degree and first in Wales, but having climbed extraordinarily from 113th in the league to 8th. And that wasn't me. That is all those people who have worked with me, who have got excited about these ideas. This year, just the number of Green Gown Awards the university has put in demonstrates the range of excitement, the way in which people are embracing sustainability. So the culture of the institution has changed. The delivery mechanisms of the institution have changed. The curriculum has changed. Inspire is a mandatory part of validation procedures. And now we're able to take that philosophy out to our community relationships. With each of the local authorities where the university has campuses, we now have pledge agreements that include working with them on well-being for the area. So what the university is doing itself is now also being very much part of what the university can do externally. And we also have our relationship with the Students' Union, and that primarily is through the Inspire interns. And this has been a journey for us. And what I would say to anybody is, once you start on this journey and you start realising that you personally can take actions that have less of an impact on the world, it actually becomes really exciting. What can you do next? And how will you do it? And this isn't about reducing a quality of life. This is actually about improving quality of life. And we're certainly finding that in the context of the university. The university is asked to go to so many conferences. Our students are asked to attend events. Our staff are asked to contribute because the university is making a commitment to future generations. And when we think about some of the difficulties future generations are going to face, that kind of commitment becomes very important.